Good morning, Patty. How are you?
Doing excellent this morning. How about you?
I'm doing well. Just wanted to call in this morning about the pretty troubling story that came out yesterday about CYFS and the number of children that have died while in the province's care. I mean, it's absolutely staggering.
Yeah, of course it is. And I spoke to Ms. Michael earlier about it. I think that we'll have that general reaction, and hopefully that reaction also felt by the members of the PC government, because this, when it becomes a political issue, I understand why opposition parties will speak to it, because for all the things included, it could be potentially political hay, and it's certainly in best intentions to protect the youth of the province. But boy, the PC should feel this today too. They should really feel that this is disgraceful and do something about it immediately.
Well, it's amazing. I heard this yesterday and saw the news story, and I went back and looked at it. It was only back in June that the advocate came out when she talked about the 4 deaths that she was investigating, children in province's care, and see, look, 1 is enough, and she was, really disturbed about 4, and now it's up to 26. I mean, that just blows me away, and I think it's serious enough. One of the things the advocate has been asking for, repeatedly, is that there be a legislative change so that all these deaths are not kept secret, as this government has chosen to do, with redacted reports, but that they be reported to the advocate, who, as an independent authority, can investigate them. And that's simply not there right now. She's asking for that. I think it's serious enough that you should bring the House back in early and bring this legislative change to the table and allow her to do her job and make sure that she's, protecting the children in this province. I simply think it's that important. I don't think what she's asking for is going to be opposed by anybody, and I know that the government has had plenty of time to put this piece of legislation together, because it's been asked for months now.
Well, somebody knows about the 20 deaths that Carol Chafe did not. That's all we need to know about where the gaps are in the system and the flaws in the legislation. Somebody knew that those 20 youth died in care, but the advocate didn't. Now, if anyone, including any member of the PC government, needs to know any more about it, then they're probably unfit to be holding a elected seat. Somebody knew.
2 things I think that have to be said, and because one of them is, I know this is coming. I've spoken on this a number of times. I've grilled numerous ministers on this now, and they always come back and say, well, you're going after the workers. The frontline staff in CYFS have a very hard job, and they do very good work, but it's been known for some time now that they are overburdened. They don't have enough supports, and this has been noted by the Child and Youth Advocate in her reports, is that, they're not working with the resources that they need. So, again, this is not about the staff. The staff are doing everything they can. They're doing the hard work, but they do need more resources.
Well, we have problems in that department, though, that are staffing issues. If we do indeed have union hierarchy available to social services workers, that's a problem. If we have green, fresh out of the box, newly trained social workers that take on child protective services, while someone who has more seniority chooses a different role, less taxing, less traumatic, that's a problem. So we may indeed have paperwork, that's a problem, but we cannot have that exist too. We need experienced people in those roles.
The other thing I think that has to be said here, we have to look at leadership from the top, political leadership. There have been 4 ministers of this department in the last 12 months. I think that is unacceptable, and I think it shows that this government is treating with a lack of importance. In fact, the Premier has said, this is in print, I think it's important to change this up. But the problem we have is that ministers are not getting in there long enough to even learn what's going on. How can they do anything when they don't know a thing about their department? I've dealt with 4 ministers since last August. I mean, this is not good enough when you're not having any kind of, steady leadership provided to a department. Then how is everybody else supposed to handle it when you have to deal half the time with making sure ministers are up to snuff and know their portfolios? They're being put in, shuffled out, put in, shuffled out. I think that's unacceptable, and they're going to have to start treating this department with a little more seriousness, because this is what's happening. We have children that are dying, and it's not being answered to. It's not being provided. The information's not being provided. In fact, it is being hidden. It's being hidden under black ink, and the Child and Youth Advocate is unable to do her job.
Yeah, we don't have enough consistency and stability, and I think that has reared its head now. Even when it comes to the resignation of former Premier Dunderdale, then there was questions brought forward by many in the public about the stability of government, whether or not they should call an early election, not rely on the fixed date. Now we have had a bit of a revolving door in the cabinet seats. There is legitimate concerns that you just voiced there, Andrew. I think a lot of people would back you up. This, once again, has to drop its political air air and get down to the basic business of legislation that protects kids. That's it, no more, no less.
And that's what's going on here, is that we have a government right now that is more worried about the leadership in their party than they are worried about the leadership in departments that are handling government, children, youth, anybody. That's the problem right here. Not enough attention is being paid, and this is what happens when you're not paying attention. We have files that are just not being brought up, and look, I'm going to say it, they're being hidden. If the Child and Youth Advocate does not know about them and is finding it through the media, something's going on here. It's very serious, and I'm looking forward to the government or the minister, the premier, every one of them. They've had enough opportunity to respond now. They should be responding. In fact, they're all together in Corner Brook today. Time to come out and respond to this.
Well, it's important, and we've heard from the NDP and now the Liberals, and I do think it's incumbent on a member of the government and the minister responsible currently to join us on the air and talk about it. In a specific, here's a couple of things we'd like to know. Who knew about these deaths, and can they offer even one shred of reasonable explanation as to why the Child Youth Advocate did not know? And then we can talk about steps to improve legislation and what have you. But Andrew, I'm off to the news. I appreciate your time this morning.
Thanks for the opportunity, Patty. Take care.
Pleasure. Bye-bye.